All right. I think we're streaming. Check. Check. Yeah, I think we're streaming. Hey, how's it going, Master? What is going on? I am just doing a pretty chill stream today. Not much going on. If you want to ask questions, you can. Otherwise, I'll just be playing video games. Yeah, this seems like the easiest thing. I sit on Discord all day and I answer questions while I play video games. So why not do it on video as well? So, yeah. All right. If you've never seen old school RuneScape before, you might ask why it looks so bad, but maybe it will grow on you. How is everyone doing today? I hope you're doing well. This. Yeah, it's a little better. You guys see Foxeer's new digital camera this morning? They put out another teaser of their camera. It's a DJI and Sharkbite camera. That'll be good for the Sharkbite users, though. It does look like a good camera. Unfortunately, it's 60 frames a second, as most of the DJI cams are now. That is unfortunate. Or if I should put something on the screen that's like, hey, ask a question. I assume it has to be a separate camera. I don't think we'll see a double because the MIPI connector will be different. But even then, I think the firmware probably has to be different because it's sending a different thing out of the sensor, though I'm not too sure there. I guess they could make a little adapter or put two MIPI connectors on it. That would be interesting. Be nice if there was some way to make just 120 low latency cameras. I definitely agree with you, Mads. More average cameras is not what we need. We need some really nice cameras. But it would be cool if there was some way they could just like have a sensor set up or whatever set up for low latency 120 without the AP chip, or maybe with some different chip that doesn't provide settings, or whatever would need to be required. It would certainly be an improvement. Hey, Double A, long time no see. How you doing? Not much of a streamer these days, but it's easier if I'm playing a game. That's for sure. Adrian Loco, how's it going? Leadfinger says Sharkbite could make it a 50 milliwatt race VTX, make it cheap and absolutely take over the racing world. Yeah, I'm not sure that cheap is possible with that system because there's a integrated cost of the ICs. I could be totally wrong, but what we know about the system means that it has to have a certain set of ICs, and I think that's where our base cost is coming from on the Sharkbite BTXs, not like a power requirement. It is possible maybe Carl could find a way to make a cheaper IC that, you I don't know if it's actually providing the power though. I don't know enough about it. Um, so that would be my thought though. Hopefully they can though. Obviously, if Carl can, he's going to. And he said there's new ICs on the way at some point in that interview with Rosser. So yeah, for sure, Mads. Green Loco says Orca going digital eventually. I think a while ago they said just keep waiting. We know Tony Cake, or at least as far as I know, Tony Cake is involved in all of those discussions and is the reason why that they showed that transmitter for preview at one of the shows they were at. We showed on the news, and that transmitter is Ghost integration, and that's presumably because Tony's working with them all together. So Matt says in 2030. Yeah, that's I don't know about time frame, unfortunately. I wish it was a lot sooner, but considering we haven't seen any leaks about anything related to it really. Um, it's either like all in the military side of things, which I guess is possible because we know they have a couple of military contracts, or it's just not really far enough along to be worthwhile. Who knows? Maybe they'll come out with something all of a sudden and surprise the shit out of us. That would be pretty cool. I'm always happy to be surprised. Maybe I'll make a video that says it's impossible to do this so that I can be like JB is when he said it's impossible to do low latency HD. Like it's impossible to beat DJI low latency HD. I don't know, man. Gene Loco says I'm sure it will compare to Sharkbite. I think that's why it's taking so long, is that they wanted to not just compare to Sharkbite. The problem is, something that's been part of these discussions is like, what actually do you do? Like, because you either have the problem of like having to buffer the data so that you can work on more areas of a picture at once, and both the buffer time and the working on the picture time for compression and coding, whatever, both take time. Um, and then you've got to get that to the other side. And then when you lose stuff, you got to have error correction. So that means overhead, and that means lost bitrate. So it's really difficult, I think, is the problem. Thanks, June Loco. I appreciate you being here. That's for sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. There might be some happy medium between, Sharkbite and DJI where you can find some way to do work on those images, but in smaller sections. Though I really think DJI is already doing that because when you see breakup with DJI, you can see those like the block lag where there's like chunks of the data breaking up. So I think they do some blocking of that image in when they're doing their error correction. I don't know. I think those guys over there at DJI are doing the best they can or did for this project. I don't know. It's going to be tough. That's interesting. Matchtech says the next gear will be based on 5G chipsets and custom ASICs will not be needed. Sharkbite and DJI may not have long to hold the market. Just look at the likes of Express LRS. The video equivalent will come. Yeah, if that is true, if the 5G chipsets are able to do what we want them to do, then I would agree. I think some of the problem there is like, I don't know, at least what Carl does, and I assume DJI is doing it, we just don't know enough about it. Is this COFDM or like modification of OFDM, so you're not using so much work on the encoding, or you're like encoding for video. Maybe some of this 5G stuff is actually built like that, so it's like, hardware built to like do video properly and care about color less and stuff. Or maybe it'll just be so good it doesn't matter. But I do feel like that is an important like thing to think about. I'm sure DJI has to be doing some magic with that. They got plenty of time in there. There's enough latency that I expect there's something fancy going on. I am happy to be surprised. The new HD system. Well, if you mean, so there's HD 0, the tech behind Sharkbite. And we know that's been out for a minute. And then DigiView is uh, the application and like system for getting FPV video out of the DJI goggles without using their $700 smart controller. The Orca system we don't have a name for. I assume like Orca HD or something. But again, that could be 2030 as Mad Tech puts it. Yeah, wide FPV is another great option. Yeah, they're really killing it. I think they just added or about to add a Discord channel over on the FPV Out server. FPV Out is like the main project. DigiView's under that. But I think, yeah, I know that developers over there talking with a lot of folks as well. So yeah, I agree with that too. Mad says the thing is DJI system now 2+ year old tech. I can guarantee they have something in their pocket if they choose to. I bet they could push 1080p version with even better behavior again. Absolutely. It's just about how much money they made. Like, do you genuinely think they made back their money? I don't know. Uh, Leadfingers asked if I've tried the Happy Model Whoop 5-in-1 with Express LRS. I have not. I've heard pretty good things about it, though. All things considered for a Happy Model product. Most of them I've heard good things about, except we talked on the news about an issue with the underrated voltage regulator. But other than that, seems good. June Loco says, "Do you think the original DJI cam will ever be back in stock?" That's a no. DJI has stopped producing that cam. We know that when they gave the air units over to Cadex. So they still make everything, but they stopped making the original DJI camera. So the best cameras we know of that currently exist are the Nebula Pro and the Cadex Air Unit Cam. The Cadex Air Unit Cam you can buy currently from Cadex, but you have to buy it with an Air Unit, so that with the Cadex Air Unit bundle. And then the Nebula Pro is the same guts as the Cadex Air Unit Cam, but it is not available. But yeah, that original DJI cam is out of production. We do not expect to ever see that again. RC Ritter says OcuSync 3 is in their pocket. Give me that air unit. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I just think it depends on if it's like worthwhile to them. Like, how does that FPV project look to them internally? Who's still there that was originally on it? Is there people who want to carry it out? Like, what CEO is or what like head of a department is interested in it? That sort of thing, probably, right? Um, and then Double A says, I feel like we should stop calling it Sharkbite and take the HD0 name. Yeah, I've definitely been saying HD0 a lot. It's just hard because Sharkbite's been around for a minute. But lately, it's been mainly HD0. He says, is Fat Shark helping Carl? We don't really know. I mean, from what I'm hearing, not much. And There doesn't appear to be a budget line. I mean, we don't know because you can only see so much in a financial report. But when Red Cat did their financials, um, there it didn't appear to be like there's a giant line item for like all the discount. Like Divimath is who makes HD0. So Divimath is doing a $99 system, which we know is likely way less than the cost of the hardware. So you're like, who's subsidizing that? But I think it kind of has to be Divimath because there's no line item on Red Cat. They still claim they have all this IPO money that they originally had. There's no like big loss from that, dumping money in the system, or they didn't sell as many as we think they did. But everybody and their brother bought one of these discounted systems, so I don't think Fatric's really helping them too much. They're making the Scout. I have no idea what percentages look like there, and I don't know what Divimath charges chipsets to Fatric for. So all that is questionable. Aztec says Fatric is really strange right now. Zero marketing for the Scouts. Yeah, 100% agree. Bizarre. HD0 is doing everything. I find it amusing people thanking Carl for making things. It's business. Yeah. Well, it's business, but also like, I don't know. I bet there are ways you could do. I don't know. It seems to me like the way he's doing it is not wanting to sell out because he's working for himself. Like to me, I feel like Divimath could be eaten up by someone because that is like he's talking about. I do think there's some world where, unless these 5G chipsets just take everything out of the water, there is some basis like the rich wave system on analog. I think that like makes a lot of sense. So I wonder if he's had offers that he's turned down because he wants to develop a nice ASIC and doesn't want to be like working somewhere like he has for however many years of his life. Loco says, "What's your current radio?" T16. I'm currently using a T16, and I'm happy with it. Yeah, I don't know about the Mambo. The Mambo's got a tracer integrated, so if you want to use tracer, I think it's a good radio. If not, you're paying a little bit of a premium for a radio. However, a lot of the radios are pretty expensive right now. I think T18, that T18 Max or Pro or whatever it is only like 169, which seemed pretty reasonable. That's not a bad option, even though you probably won't use the 5-in-1 part of it. But otherwise, I think that Mambo seems like a solid radio. Kind of depends on what you're looking for. Madstech says, I think analog devices Curl could just be trying to build a proof of market and let them buy the IP. It's been closely integrated with AD transceivers. Yeah, I think it's interesting though, because like at the new version, he made his own IC to replace that AD transceiver, right? I don't think it's in the current. You would know because you did the teardown. Or is it just like a rebranded AD? Because yeah, I remember it being in the chain. Okay, gotcha. That would make sense then. Partnering with them would certainly help. I mean, how does somebody like Divomath, like, I don't even know. Does he have just partners from when he used to work at different companies? Or he would like go and get stuff made at facilities that he has access to on some of their time? Like, that's the other thing I think about a lot is like, how does somebody that appears small able to manufacture ICs? How much cheaper would it be if a large company was manufacturing them? How much less does DJI pay because they order so many P1s? You know, that kind of stuff. But okay, well that makes sense. He did work for AD. I wasn't sure who he worked for, so that makes a lot of sense. Hey, free range chicken is here. How's it going, man? Good to see you. Been a long time. Somebody mentioned just a minute earlier here. I might have missed it. The DJI Action camera is coming out, the Action 2. That looks pretty exciting to me. Unless it's total garbage. I mean, it's a really nice sensor and a session form factor, so um, it'll be pretty neat. That's for sure. If it turns out to be anything like they say it is. I know Rocksteady 2.0 is the same thing that's on the DJI drone. It doesn't seem super impressive, but hopefully they can do something with it. Lucas says it's Blunty freestyle frame, please. I don't think you'll. I don't know. Maybe I'm could be wrong. But I don't think you'll ever see anything like frame, motor, what else? Camera. None of those are really something I would put my name on. I am an Iron Man, by the way. I obviously have to mention that since you brought up RuneScape there, free range chicken. I am an Iron Man. RC Ritter says, hope the new Orca has HD0 and analog in one clean unit. Oh, that would be interesting. I haven't seen any implication that would happen since they've been working on their own stuff, but I don't know. But that would kind of blow some people's minds, that's for sure. Double A says, what is your go-to whoop racing rig, motors, and board? Honestly, just Acroby. I'm still flying my Acroby. I guess it's the V2, since the V3 is the new one. And the Hummingbird F4 Pro. They're just easier. I hate building stuff that small. It's really difficult and it's just annoying. I mean, a lot of it is like the motors are plugs and some of the cameras are plugs, but still pretty frustrating. Those loop frames get bent so much, so I've just been flying the stocks, pretty much. Orange Spartan says iFlight showing octocopter with OG DJI camera in it. Interesting, someone got them still. I mean, yeah, there are certainly some out there. As far as like actual stock, I don't think there's obviously nothing new. So I mean, regardless if they're selling them or not, Lawrence Martin, they're backstock. I mean, DJI announced they canceled that camera. So unless they decided to pull that for whatever reason and completely change without any announcement, indication, anyone selling it or anything, I would guess it's backstock. Or the test, or just the test model or whatever. Just has a DJI OG in it. There's a lot of those where even you'll order it and it'll show the DJI OG camera, and then you'll get it and it'll be the wrong camera. Anyone making a tracer bind and fly whoop that is good? No. I don't think anybody cares about tracer or bind and flies. Unfortunately, I think all these links, except for maybe ExpressLRS, because it's open source and so many people are supporting it, will be on bind and flies. There's just no reason for anybody to put Ghost or Tracer on a bind and fly. Maybe like one or two randos, but just like the adoption will never be there, But with ExpressLRS, you have 6 companies making a 2.4 gig link. I think there will be enough adoption that it'll end up going there. Also, it's way cheaper. Like when you compare, it's like $8 to put a receiver on something versus $20 or $30 to put a nano on there. Yeah, I don't know. I think because of cost and because of availability, I just don't think you're going to see much bind and flies, except for specialized stuff, because they have to stock it, unless they're building it to order. Like if you're ordering a whatever whoop and you're ordering it with a tracer, then likely they would have to solder them on out of a stock, I would guess. Or they're like stocking so many and assuming people will order them and they're going to sell out quicker than you would expect, or they're going to have them sitting around. It's just hard. Like as someone who has a small shop, like how do you know what to order and how many things? Stuff like that is like, unless you're really big, you're not going to order tracer or bind flies. It's unfortunate. I think cost is a big issue with tracers. Scott says, I've already invested in Tracer, and it makes me mad because I knew technology's coming along that's better and cheaper. Yeah. You can localized Crossfire ExpressLRS. ExpressLRS all day. There's no reason not to buy ExpressLRS at this point. We've had multiple major releases. All the hardware is compatible. It's it's like a quarter or a half to a third the price. There's just zero reason to buy anything with ExpressLRS. Like, and unfortunately, TBS used to be the It Just Works company, and they're no longer that because for the last however long, before the Mambo launch, after the Mambo launch, I mean, you couldn't even use Agent X on a computer for a while. You had to use Agent M to flash certain stuff because they couldn't make Agent X work for like weeks. They couldn't make software that's on like It Just Works work. Like that's ridiculous. So like I think at this point you can't say that about Crossfire anymore. Also, I troubleshooted all day with people in the Discord, and you can see on and off people like just like randomly having issues, and oh, we've got to reset this. The one benefit for me that Crossfire has over everything, and Tracer has this as well, is that it has the golden firmware on it, which I would like to see some solution for that for ExpressLRS, where you can hold a button and reflash the internal firmware and go back to like a known good old firmware. Um, that would definitely be good. But other than that, I just don't see any reason. It just costs more and it is just as annoying sometimes. How's it going? Yeah, we are playing RuneScape. I'm going for Elite Void right now. Got my regular Void in the bank. I need 400 points here for Elite Void. So, something to do while we talk. Oh, McDonald's has some switches to do that, like a backup ROM. Wouldn't be terrible for flight controllers as well. I'm not sure if I would want flight controllers to do that, just because, I don't know, they already seem so cramped for space, and I'd rather them put other stuff there. I could probably rather have a Barrow than a backup, because you can always just DFU a flight controller anyway. But like an RX can be more difficult, because there's no USB port on the RX. So, um, yeah, I don't know. I would definitely like to see Express RS with that integrated. God says, "Do I bite the bullet and swap over?" Well, I think that's kind of up to you. It depends on. To me, it depends on if you can sell it. I have not had much luck selling Express LRS hardware or Tracer hardware rather. I still have some in the store that nobody's bought, but if you can sell it for a reasonable price, then I don't know. To me, yes, I would probably switch over. Especially after Trappy's comments, I didn't really watch too much of it, but on the lounge, I know he basically said there's no point in adding LoRa. It's just a lower speed link. You don't need the range. You just think you do. All this kind of BS. So TBS gimping their own hardware and continually gimping it and then fighting other people about gimping it is not a positive thing to me. See, Ritter says was Namina the best module available. I don't know. There's a bunch of modules available. There's like 6 different companies with the TX, so I have no idea what the best one available is. I know there's multiples that are 1 watt though, as far as I know. So I think it kind of just depends on what you're looking for. I know if you hop over on the Express LRS Discord, they would be happy to help you. Yeah, the older something is, the harder it's going to be to sell it. That's for sure. Letfinger says all the guys at TOG went Ghost or Express RS. The one guy on Tracer switched. Yeah, I think if you're racing, to me, I would be on Ghost or Express RS currently. Express LRS, while it does have LR in the name, long range system, it was developed for racers. Like the reason Express LRS was made was because there was an idea of like, hey, why do we care? Like, let's get the lowest latency possible. And so the idea was like, why don't we shrink all these packets down? We don't need to send like a 1,000 spots for the ARM switch. Let's shrink that down to just a few spots so we can save all that space, make the OTA speed faster, and make it less, susceptible to interference. So yeah, I think Express LRS is a great racing link. A lot of racers fly that. Or Ghost is like Tony Cake is all about racing, so I think that is a good place for Ghost to be. He's definitely working heavily with racers, so for sure. But at least Ghost doesn't gimp you. They'll give you LoRa if you want it. There is a LoRa mode and an FLRC mode. I think Express LRS is looking at FLRC, but LoRa is so fast the way it's done with packet size. I don't know there's a lot of point. RC Ritter gives me 420. Thanks so much, man. Always dishing out the knowledge. Free roll on me. Thanks, man. Much appreciated. What? Mo says, control link for digital. Do we know how DJI does theirs? As far as I know, it's just like OFDM encoded packets over 5.8, but there's no error correction because there's like, you don't want to error correct a signal. So I think that's why it's like shorter range, but I don't actually know too much about it. Might be a good question for Rosser. See if he can dive into that on his side of things. Carbon Cage is here. How's it going, Carbon Cage? Good to see you. 2:30 a.m. there. Man, go to sleep. That's late. Scott, Abramzik. I still don't know actually how to say that name. I always look at it and I think I'll figure it out later. Scott Abramzik says no question, just thanks. $4. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Larry's here. How's it going? KD2 RDH Larry. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Not like we don't talk, but good to see you. Urban Cage donates I'm not sure what that is. $7.99. I much appreciate it, man. Scott says it's a Bromchek. Okay, that makes more sense. A Bromchek. Thanks again, Carbon Cage. Really appreciate that. Double A says it's Blunty, the best sativa. Well, I don't really smoke a lot of sativas. But I don't know. I just gotta say I don't really smoke a lot of sativas. Probably something like a green crack if I'm gonna choose, right? But yeah, I don't know. I'm a big indica guy. Mostly indicas. Like a ghost dog. Like that's a ghost OG or a chem dog, like a combo. I don't know, something in that family. Grease monkey. It's a good one. Carbon Cage says those Aussie dollars. Awesome. Thank you very much. Mads Tech says DJI-RC is separate packets over the spectrum on the same channel bandwidth as video. It's actually transmitting on the same channel as video in 25 megabit mode, but on channel 8 on 50 megabit mode. Oh, interesting. Oh, I see what you mean. Because there's room there. At least I assume that's what you mean. Yes, RC Ritter says indica means in the couch, nap time. Yes, it does. However, at this point, it means pain relief and relaxation. Well, I tell you what, this pest control here goes way faster when I'm talking to you guys. Because it's not that engaging, but I need it for the rest of the game. RC Ritter says broken bones over here in rainy season coming. Yeah, it's today's high is 70. Yesterday was 81. Tomorrow is 60, 59. So winter is coming here in Colorado. It's about time to conformal everything and do my winter flights. Maybe we'll get another snow stream if we get a blizzard. Carbon Cage asked what my email is. You can shoot me an email at itsbluntyfpv It's all together. ITSBLUNTY FPV at gmail.com. It's FPV at gmail.com. And I'll take a look at whatever you got for me. Ritter says, woke up and house was 64. Yikes. Hey, when I forget to turn the heater on really low, like even during the summer sometimes, I'll just make sure it's on like 66 or something. So if it gets really cold, it'll heat up. Matchstick says, basically in 50 mode, it's always on channel 8. And then videos 1 to 3. But on 25, it always follows video, but there's some other quirks. It's a form of FHSS, frequency hopping. I always forget what it stands for. FHSS, limited to 25 megabit per second bandwidth. Paul McDonald says, have you had a bad experience with conformal coding, or is it pretty worry-free in terms of application? Bad experiences are only when I forget to care about blocking things. So like, for instance, right? You want to make sure anything with a contact that you want to use again is like plugged in and closed. However, it will also like glue the plugs in because it's going to harden. So you kind of got to judge like in between there, like as it's hardening, you want to take that plug out or you want to know that plug is going to live in there for a while. A couple times I've had to like pull a plug out and I've actually broken it. I've even tried to like alcohol around it. I mean, I actually ended up snapping the plug, trying to take it out after conformal. The other thing I've done is I conformaled in an SD card by accident. I put the SD card in to cover the contact so that it would work, but I totally forgot about the fact of taking the SD card out. So not only did the SD card get stuck in there with conformal, but the conformal got under the SD and grew, it seems like, or at least hardened in a way as which it no longer made contact. So not only was I not able to access the SD, I was not able to read the SD either. Good times. Other than those things, make sure you don't close like your barometer will have a hole. Make sure you don't cover your barometer's hole. Otherwise, yeah, don't make sure you plug in your USB or avoid your USB port, stuff like that. It's pretty self-explanatory otherwise. RC Ritter, dang, I was hoping you could just leave an SD card in USB and just dunk. You kind of can. You just need to like, as it's drying, make sure you're managing it. So like, I would probably dunk it with SD and then give it a minute or two, like let everything get tacky on the outside so you can tell it's starting to get tacky, and then pull that SD. I can't guarantee that will work, but that's what I would do if I had to do it again. So I could try to save the SD slot. You could also try not doing the SD slot at all, but Conformal gets everywhere, man. It's really hard not to get on everything. You can also get plugs, like if you can print or find plugs that fit in there, like rubber plugs. That's another way to do it. Scott asked what I did with my SD card situation. I just don't use the SD card on that drone. I have a JB-F4 flight controller without SD card. So, such is life. I don't care enough to like, I could probably get in there and try to scrape and clean, but conformal is so annoying to get off if you don't have good access that I'm not that worried about it. I ain't stressing. E-drone says I accidentally got conformal in my gyro, not a good idea. Yeah, if you're like, if you have anything exposed, you definitely don't want to have that, but like a standard gyro shouldn't be any issue unless it's like, yeah, I got a hole in it or doing barrel or whatever as well. Trunk says, damn RuneScape. That is correct. It is RuneScape. Old school RuneScape, thank you, not RS3, as you can probably see. Also, this is the nicer version. If you wonder why it looks as good as it does, here's what it should look like. I'm using the HD plugin, so it's a little better. You can paint it on too, Paul. It's just like if you have a way to dunk it, some people dunk it. There's also like dry drone that's like a shake kit. There's multiple ways to do it. Yeah, Scott, it's just for black box in that case. Owen says, I had a gyro die, random twitches to the left after I conformal coded. Never happened before or since. Yeah, it shouldn't be related because the gyro doesn't need access to anything outside, and it should be all encased with the FC, so it all should travel together. But yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that maybe in some weird cases it could cause something. I'm not sure. Edrone, thanks for all your hard work and our amazing hobby. Smash that like button. Thank you so much, man. $5. I really appreciate it. Gotta say, I did not expect to be getting super chats today. Just was gonna play Runescape and answer questions, but I do appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. I like these small streams. It's a good number of people. Madstick says, post a PayPal link so we can support without the YouTube tax. I definitely will do that, but thank you so much. I appreciate you stopping by. You can always PayPal. It's bluntyfpv@gmail.com, but I will add a link as well. We got here. Let's go check out. Yeah, it gives me $2. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Leadfinger says, hey, you have any bad rumors about Hobbywing F7 convertible? No, I'm not super familiar with that though. I don't remember which one the convertible is. I need to look at that. No, I haven't heard anything in particular. Hobbywing is normally pretty solid. At least the ESCs have been. I have a 60 in a few different quads, I think. Oh no, I know which one you're talking about. This X-Rotor F7. Nothing in particular, though I don't know very many people using it. Yeah, for old school, they definitely do look good. Compost. Compost pile. Not familiar with you. Nice to see you. Welcome. Luke Williams is here. How's it going, man? I have a Hobbywing F7 convertible and a Switchback Pro, and it's been solid so far. It's good to know. One good smack and the gyro goes out on that Hobbywing, says Leadfingers. Their ESCs are bomb-proof. Interesting. That's a bummer. It says most boards with H7 have had some issues. Not too sure. I don't know that I've seen that many boards with an H7 that I've used that much. I just know the Beast was having problems. They claim to have fixed them now, though, so I don't know. Scott says, do podcasting microphone have like a cough button, for quietly clearing your throat or drinking? It depends. So I think you can buy mics with cough buttons, but typically you're doing that with like a keyboard button bound to like a temporary mute. So like you would hold or click a button for mute and then click back off. I actually made. It's like the only time I'll ever show this. So I'll be right back. Actually, that's pretty funny. I'll be back in a second. Okay, I actually made cough buttons because I had the same question you did, and I just wasn't sure, and I thought it might be nice for like a guest or something because I can't mute me and a guest, you know, right? So I actually made a cough button. Let's see here. This camera. Basically, it's just a project box, two XLR cables, and then a button. And literally all the inside does is break the connection for the voice. So when you hold this down, you're breaking that voice line. When you let it go, it's opening back up. That's actually super simple. Costs like 10 bucks maybe, 5-10 bucks. And then if I have a guest, I just mount them on the side and they can hold the button to cough. Carbon Cage says, turns out FPV is illegal in Australia. Yeah, I see your email here. It looks like it's going to be a little involved, so I'll have to dig into that. A lot of places are not okay with FPV. I mean, FPV is not legal in the U.S. unless you have a spotter. And then in a lot of cases, if you're out of line of sight, you are no longer legal for that spotter. So it can be super sketchy, but fortunately, it looks like you got a letter about that. So I'll kind of read into that and see what that's all about. Stranger says, Dan Richmond's here. Appreciate you coming. Stranger says, have you heard about a bug between SP Racing Nano H7 and some ESCs? I have not, though I guess that would make sense. I know that like the Beast H7 was specifically having problems with some ESC firmwares and bidirectional D shots, so I assume there's something there that's probably causing the same issue. But they were able to fix it on BLE S. I'm not really sure what they did. But the rumor was they were going to have to go to BLE 32, but it looks like they were able to fix it on BLE S. Monoctonic says, I think some streamers have a mute foot button. Yep, definitely. Yeah, not a bad idea. Gage says, not even a spotter or line of sight. That's interesting. So I'll take a look. Dan Richmond says, Arnold Schwarzenegger is also my spotter. Yeah, XJet had a good video where he had a 3D model he embedded in the video. It was his spotter. He was always there next to him. Owen Crony says, I did my FPV license for here in Ireland a few years ago, and I was basically told if nobody complains, it's fine. No nighttime restrictions and can fly anywhere, anytime as long as it's below 20 meters. 5 kilometer airport exclusions was the only thing. Yeah, so Owen, I believe there, in a lot of the EU, in that whole area over there, they have something called shielded operations. And shielded operations means that under a certain level in most areas, they don't really give a shit what you do because nothing can be there. Unfortunately, there's no place for shielded operations in the laws other than a specific exception that you can get waivers for. That's something we talked about on the news a couple of weeks ago. It is possible to apply for a waiver in the U.S. to add shielded operations under specific flight guidelines, but unfortunately, that's a lot of work and has not been done yet. Opponent Apen says I have a F4 Mamba stack, F405, 1507, 3600 kb Zing motors, and a Vista. Any recommendations on a suitable frame? Well, the mini stack or the regular stack? Those are small motors and a normal stack, it sounds like. So I'm not 100% sure there, actually. Because I'd probably recommend you something like a Micro Alien still, I think is a really good frame. I don't know if you could fit a Vista in a Micro Alien. You probably have to decase it, though. So I don't know what you'd fit a Vista in 1507. Compass Pal says Balloon Fiesta is starting soon down here. Would you ever fly in a balloon? Oh man, I don't know. Probably not. I mean, I want to say yes, but probably not. I really hate heights. I like to say I'm afraid of heights, but that makes sense. So it's like, sometimes you have fears like, sometimes you have fears like like you're in your room and it's dark and you know there's nothing in the corner, but you're scared because it's dark, right? That's an irrational fear. There's likely nothing in the dark, and even if there was, it wouldn't matter. However, I have a fear of heights. And to me, a fear of heights actually makes sense because if you fall, you die. So I embrace the fear of heights, and I often don't exercise that fear much. Scott says, "How do you know all this?" Because all I do all day is Discord and YouTube FPV stuff. I'm lucky enough to make just enough money from what I do and other consulting activities I do for cannabis that I don't have to work. So I do some consulting just whenever it comes up. I do the news. I do a couple other things, and that's my monthly income. So I'm not making bank, but also I'm not having to work. So instead, I learn a bunch of shit and I pass it on to you. Drunk says, "Does heights translate into fear of deep water?" Absolutely. Yes. Same fear. Most of the ocean is unexplored, so we don't actually know what's down there. So I think that fear is even worse because we know it'll kill you down there because the pressure, and also no lights getting down there, and also we haven't explored most of it. Dan Richmond says, "Killer Bees here. Nice to see you, man." Dan Richmond says, "Have you tried any long range?" No, I have not tried any long range. I think the furthest I've gone is like about a mile, something like that. I don't know. It's cool. I don't really have a car, so it's not feasible for me to go like out to fly long range, and I'm not sure I get it, but I don't really get it. So for me, not too much of a thing, but yeah. That one says sounds like living the dream. Yeah, it's going pretty well. Pretty happy. I mean, I'm playing Runescape and talking to you, so it's going all right. And it is a Wednesday at 1 p.m. Double A says the balloon ride I just took a few weeks ago has been the most relaxing flight experience yet. Yeah, I I believe it's relaxing, but it's also in a basket in the air. I don't know, man. Maybe it just scares the ever loving bejesus out of me. Crunk says I hate looking down and not being able to see the bottom. Yeah, it's the worst. It is the worst. Uh, I'm from the Gulf of Mexico, like Panama City. Um, when you go out into the bay and the marina, you cannot see the bottom. It's all dark water from being upset and oil and whatever else goes on. But as soon as you go through the path out of the bay and you go out into the ocean in the Gulf, it's just clear. It's so nice. It's one of my favorite things to do. You can go out for miles and it's just clear. It's so great. You can see all the animals coming to kill you. Yeah, multiple people have this fear of dark water. It sounds like I actually recently played Subnautica, which is all about exercising a fear of dark water. Literally, the only way I got through it was just sitting there going, "This is a video game. This is a video game. This is a video game." I kept having to remind myself of that. Trunk's right and ELSQL. I don't know what PLSQL is. I know SQL SQL, right? Or it depends on who you talk to, but I call it SQL. So I don't know what PL SQL is. Double A says, I do water too. I've been a diver since I was 12. I'm 47. Yeah, you must be a good diver, that's for sure. I know it is easy to get fucked up diving. Seen a lot of people who quickly don't follow the rules, and it doesn't go well. Sonictronic says, I love to watch the guys explore the deep water, but no way I'm going down there. Yeah, I would drive a submersible. Get me in an ROV any day, but I'm not going down there. We got cameras now. We got wires, you know? We can do that. I don't need to be a James Cameron. If I had James Cameron the money, the last thing I'm going to do is put myself at the bottom of that water. I mean, it's cool, but Chrome says that's procedural SQL SQL for Oracle. Fun. Oh, it's like SQL that run. I see what you're saying. Interesting. Scott's got to go. Thanks for hanging out, Scott. Much appreciated. Paul McDonald says the first time I accidentally dug into a water cavity in Minecraft, I kind of freaked out. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Sometimes it'll get you. Anytime I'm in a game and I don't have like enough breath, you know, I'm like managing breath, I'm always nervous. $150 man. We're kicking it. We're killing it. I need 400 points. I don't think we're gonna go to 400, but we're gonna keep pushing it. What else is new? Oh, thank you. Somebody should. I appreciate it. If anybody remembers my live streams, they remember me not switching back the camera. So that has not changed. The enrichment says I went 1.5 kilometers and it was over a tall forest, so it felt unrecoverable. I was so nervous, I was shaking the sticks. I had to set them and then hands off to try to get smooth footage. Yeah, yeah, definitely can be super nerve wracking. Just flying a quad can be nerve wracking, but especially if you're like somewhere unrecoverable or doing something you're not used to. Lightfinger says, whenever I go fly, I punch my quad up until my battery sags out, and then point the camera at the ground and death spiral down, playing chicken with how late I pull out is a nice rush. Hey man, whatever gets you going. Who am I to judge? What FPV says, did you see the beta FPV Express LRS controller? Yes, I did this morning. It's a 100 milliwatt Light Radio 2 SE. But instead of D8 Futaba business, it has an Express LRS inside. Cool to see. It's unfortunate it's the Light Radio 2 SE. Is this guy trying to... You see that guy dragging all those people? Okay. Unfortunately, Light Radio 2 SE has terrible joysticks. So hopefully those gimbals are better. Somebody told me they had plugs now. Hopefully that at least they're easier to change out. But from what I've heard, lots of gimbal issues. Yeah, Sonic Tonic says as well, gimbal issues. So hopefully it's better on the new controller, but I don't know. Yep, I knew that guy was gonna die. That guy kited everyone up there. It's like on purpose. Yeah, Pacific Northwest pilots. That is what we were talking about, the Express Solaris version. Compost pile. Don't worry, dying here is not that important because we are in pest control. So no big deal. Killer Bee says, "What's your thought on the terraplane from Andy Shen?" Without getting too much into it, we were told TPU ducts with the blades cutting into the ducts were necessary and needed, and it's the best you could do, and all this stuff from Mr. Shen. And now we have plastic ducts from the same guy. So honestly, I don't know. If it works, it works. That's great, but it's unfortunate that people have been evangelizing these TPU ducts for so long, and then Andy Shen is now using plastic ducts. So hopefully they work great, but it's unfortunate that people have been fighting with the TPU for so long if it's not actually needed. Yeah, crackability will be a concern. I'm not sure how that's going to end up. RC Ritter says that RunCam link Phoenix HD at Pirate Run, just a Vista and a MIPI cam. Yeah, any Vista or air unit you see will always be the same Vista or air unit. It'll just be a special camera. We know RunCam is now a partner with DJI along with Caddx. That's something that got announced a while back. We talked about on the news. So I believe this is the first thing we're seeing from them. They're calling it the Phoenix HD, but I believe it's just a MIPI. However, nobody's gotten it yet, as far as I know. They just shipped out today or yesterday, so we will see. Epome says any fix for the QX7S buzzing while trying to use Crossfire Micro TX2 on high power. I thought there was a fix for that, but I don't remember what it is. Hold on. I know there's a help desk article about it, but I don't remember if it says like too bad it buzzes or if it says like you can fix it like this. Let me see. Yeah, I'm not sure offhand. I feel like there was a way to do this, like to make the buzzing stop, but I do not remember what it was. It was like disable telemetry or something, but I know that's not something good for most Crossfire pilots. I'm not paying attention. What happens when you read three things? Pacific Northwest mentions that as Express LRS broke out, TBS live stream slowed down. I just think they only live stream when they got something to show you, or something to like, pimp out or whatever. So, also I know Chappie is going through some stuff, but I just think in general they don't care to get on there unless they got something to say. But I say that, and then the last one was like an hour and 20 minutes of rambling. So who knows? Maybe I'm being hasty. Do like this, this. All right, let's tack that in the corner. I don't know if you can even see that, but get kicked again. There we go. What if he says, what are the odds that Sharkbite comes out as an AIO for whoops? I think they need a hardware partner. I don't want to speak for anybody, but the amount of time it's taken them to get new stuff out, and the way Carl was talking on that Rosser interview, they just don't want to make hardware. So like the hardware we're getting is based on demand, but I really think like we would see a whoop AIO very quickly if somebody got talking to them. Like I know Trappy was saying he might talk to them. Whoever can, if somebody can start making hardware with their ICs and figure out how to do it, I think that we'll see one very quickly. Yeah, it depends on how you define RPG. It's like it's an MMO RPG, but RuneScape is more like grind skills up. I mean, there are quests and stuff. It's definitely it's just much more grindy than most traditional RPGs. It's not afraid to be grindy. This account's like 3 years old. I play on and off. I just got back into it again after like a year off. So Edoc says RuneScape is a spreadsheet with better graphics. Yeah, kind of similar to EVE Online, another game I've played on and off for years. I'm a big fan of spreadsheets. I like it when the numbers go up. And the numbers go up a lot here. So I like checking things off lists, and we're done with most of the quests. Edoc says I'd probably like powerlifting. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Well, you know, it changes when things are physical, but who knows? What's up? That DJI Action 2 session replacement, hopefully, right? That's exciting. We can dream. Man, I want that. I want it to be a session replacement so bad because the specs on it are so crazy. Would really upset the market, even at a couple $100. People are paying a couple $100 for session fives, so I think they're crazy. But also, hey, what you gonna do? To each their own. Leadfinger's asked, am I watching DRL tonight? Absolutely. Absolutely. On Twitter. So don't stream it on Twitter. I'm not, but I believe they're simulcasting it on Twitter. So, yeah. 8 p.m. EST. Who's gonna win tonight? Who's gonna win level 1? Are they doing level 1 and 2? I know previously they've done like the levels as a combo. I think levels 1 through 8 are all in person. Sonic Tonic says EVE Online helps researchers with problem solving. Didn't know that. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. There's a game you can play in there, and basically the game is you doing pattern recognition and looking at these signal plots for like patterns to emerge. And it turns out you're actually like helping do that to actual signals that come out of something they're like scanning for. I think it's like cancer research or something. I don't remember exactly. Ramdonko is here. He's been considering Eve for a while. If you would like another job, play Eve Online. That's where I'm at with it. You can definitely play Eve without playing it like that, but if you want to actually play Eve, you need to get and play it like a job because the progression is so slow and difficult. You can't really do much. Like it's a game about grouping with people. It's very difficult to be solo. All the skills take real time to train, so you can't just like, or you have to spend like a fuck ton of money. So you can't like actually, I'm talking about thousands of dollars. So you can't actually do anything on your own. And even if you were on your own, there's very few ships and builds you could do on your own. Like that will actually get you out of most situations. Like if you're not with other people and you haven't pre-scouted the area, you will get gate camp if you try to go through low sec. And there's very few ships you can fly through a low sec gate, a low security gate, that can't be caught by like fast tackle. I typically fly fast tackle when I play, and I can lock basically anything up with the Mollis Navy issue in no time flat, and you will just die for whatever you have. So you gotta have friends. Yeah, Edox is in Iceland. There's a big Eve monolith. There's a bunch of usernames all over it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Eve is an awesome game. You just gotta want to put it in. It's definitely like another job. Leatherfinger says Sky's been training with his DRSL spec so hard this year. Probably has more IRL races with his Racer 4 than anyone else. That's awesome. Yeah, I hope to see. I know Sky's been killing it, so hopefully he does really well. Yeah, I mean, just like make sure you do a lot of reading if you play Eve. If you don't like reading, you don't want to play Eve. That's for sure. Ain't the game for you. Ratatat is here. How's it going, man? Good to see you. Ratatat RC. Like one of the like who I used to play with when I play Eve. Like all so another thing with Eve is all of your stuff is physically somewhere. So unless you're in a station with asset safety, like everything you own will be in that station. If the station is destroyed, it will be dropped or destroyed when the station is destroyed. All stations occupy physical space and they're in some system in Eve. There is a thing called asset safety. So if it's destroyed and you have your things in asset safety, or it changes hands and you don't own it anymore, your stuff can be recovered for a fee. But most things out in the outs don't have asset safety. So another big part of it is like, you got a group with somebody, and you have alliance, and if alliances break up, shit's crazy, and you've got to move all your shit, and your shit's not light, so you've got to get a bunch of ships that can move stuff, and you've got to protect those ships while they move, because those ships are vulnerable, or you've got to make a lot more trips because you've got a hauler, but it's cloaky, but the cloaky haulers can't haul as much, so. Or you can do jump freighters, so you can only jump to low sec typically, or null sec, but you can jump right outside of a high sec safe system to a low sec system in a jump freighter, and you can move stuff way across the map. But then if somebody knows where you're going, they can catch you and counter you, and a lot of cool stuff. Eve is a lot of fun. Owen Crony, right on that Drone Racing League Twitter, as eDoc says. It should start streaming. Well, looking forward to it. If you miss it too, it should all be on Twitter. I know I was able to find the previous years on Twitter recorded. So I believe you'll be able to watch them after the fact, but either way, you should see them simulcast on Twitter. Hopefully, anyway. The Twitter logo's on there, and it used to happen, so. Hey, Owen Crony donating on PayPal. Thank you very much, Owen. Much appreciated. The prop funds from Owen Crony. I gotta figure out how to get those to show on the screen. Or if I can. Ram Donka says Family Command and Conquer, so I had to play them all. Should come with warnings. May take up 8% of your life. Definitely, best Command and Conquer is Red Alert 2. I'll fight you. It says it's so good. It's the best game of all time. Red Alert 2. If they ever remaster Red Alert 2, I will guarantee you right now, I will do a remastered Red Alert 2 stream. 100%. I'm so excited. Oh man, Red Alert 2 is so good. Pacific Northwest asks what the specs of my current freestyle quad. Just double check because they're flow motors, I think. But I remember the spec of them. Well, they're the 6S flow motors, but I fly everything on 4F. It's a FetTech ESC and FC, the FetTech S7. It's got the Insta360 Go 2 mount on it. Nebula Pro, and a Vista. So, pretty obvious. Lots of love for Red Alert 2. Awesome to see that. Also played a lot of Age of Empires 2. Funny story. I made a mistake and asked for the wrong game for my birthday, and it was a blessing in disguise. My buddy told me that I really needed to get Empire Earth 2. And I was like, oh, okay, Empire Earth 2. All right, I'll ask for that for my birthday. And I called my dad and I said, at that time it wasn't a cell phone, so it was on a landline. And said, hey, can you get me? But instead of Empire Earth 2, I said Age of Empires 2. So I know what the fuck I was talking about. So he brought me Age of Empires 2, which had also come out fairly recently, but was a little cheaper. And I was like, oh shit. And I ended up playing it, and it was amazing. I got put tons of hours into Age of Empires 2. I played online modes with like all kinds of custom games and stuff. That game popped off. Wololo. If you played Age of Empires 2, you'll know what that means. Abraham Dunko, real Greek words. Edoc says, weird that the RTS genre died up. After the modem, after MOBAs became a thing. Yeah, that kind of did happen. I think player taste changed. I don't know exactly why, but like, I don't like playing RTSs anymore either. I have no clue why. But I know that like it's difficult for me to sit down at like a new RTS I won't just randomly play. But like I played a lot of old RTSs, and I don't really know what the difference is or why. Like I played everything back in the day. Age of Mythology, Rise of Nations. I played a lot of Rise of Nations. What else? Played every Command and Conquer that came out, probably. Okay, what else? Also played, these are still coming out, but I played a lot of Total War. Like Rome 2 Total War, we played a lot of. Those Cretan archers, man, you hide those Cretan archers up in the trees. They just have this range that's ridiculous. Yeah, Ramjonka says CNC4 was so different, I couldn't be bothered. I can't remember if 4 was the new Tiberium Wars. Was that the one with like the green 4? If so, then I agree with you. That was my breaking point. That was also where I dipped out. And another RTS that, from what I remember, was terrible was Halo Wars. I never played much of it, but it didn't seem great because it was console-based RTS. I think they made a Halo Wars 2 as well. I never put any time into it, but I think they eventually came out for PC. I think they're in Game Pass. Brutal Legend, right? Yeah, the Zelda game that suddenly becomes an RTS, even though you didn't ask for it. That's a bit of a weird one. I would have rather that game just been a Zelda game. Like I definitely didn't need the RTS. Oh, definitely played General's Corey, man. 0 Hour, mainly 0 Hour. Laser General was really good. Uh, in the in the hopes that I'm not taken as racist, we bill for China is like stuck in my head for the rest of my life. It will never go away. I think about it probably once every month-ish, something like that, which is the thing that the Chinese army troops say when you move them, the workers say when you move them in Command and Conquer General Zero Hour. Never get it out of my head. Played a lot of StarCraft. That's a given. That was probably my first RTS was StarCraft on a pirated CD. Copy of CDR with a CD key hack. Gotta have that. I think I was mainly in CNC generals. I think I was mainly a laser general. I just thought laser general seemed cool. Also, the Toxin, it's a GLA, Global Liberation Army. The GLA Toxin general, I like too. Played a lot of StarCraft. Played a lot of StarCraft 2. Watched a lot of StarCraft 2, Professional 2. But I've done a little bit of SC2 multiplayer. I just don't have it in me to grind it out. It's a lot of work. Those people on the ladder are rough. One Vision Arrow says, I'm a heavy WoW player. Love the PvP. Yeah, I've got probably like 40 or 50 days in WoW. I'm not like crazy like a lot of people have hundreds of days. I was way more like casual over time kind of player, so I played for a long time, but I was fairly casual when I played. I played every single expansion, including the newest one, for a substantial amount of time. So definitely got burnt out again. Did not take long on the new expansion. Not a big PvPer though, so that's I can definitely see where PvP is more sustainable. But also balance can get you really down. I play a druid as my main. I've always played a druid. Will continue to play a druid. I think I have everything at 110. No, wait. I forgot they changed levels. Whatever the equivalent of 110 is now in the new levels. I think all my characters are like 110. Except for the one from this expansion. I play a lot of video games. Basically, if it seems cool, I play it. Played and beat Death's Door this year. Death's Door is a great game. Not even that big into like Souls-like games, but Death's Door was great. Played 12 minutes. That was disappointing. Very disappointed in 12 minutes. Played the Forgotten City. Super impressed with Forgotten City. Forgotten City was fucking excellent. If you've never played Forgotten City, and you like any kind of mystery, anything. If you've ever cared about any mystery, anything, I would say that's probably a good barometer. Go play the Forgotten City. Don't read anything about it. It's worth it. You can refund it. Steam lets you refund within 2 hours, so go play an hour and a half of it. Night Carbon Cage, take it easy. One Vision says, still playing Half-Life 2. Nice. I've beaten Half-Life 2 a couple times. I always drop out about Ravenholm. I can like power through to Ravenholm every time. But boy, Ravenholm is a slog for me, man. A real slog. I need to play Deathloop, but I really don't want to spend $60 on Deathloop. I don't know. I may be greedy at this point, but indie games these days are way cheaper. It's hard for me to pay $60 for a AAA game that I know will probably be in discount later and will definitely be on Game Pass within a year. The exclusivity drops out at the 12-month mark, so we can hope. It'll be sooner, but unfortunately, it doesn't look like it. Also has Denuvo. Don't really want to support Denuvo. It's a pile of garbage. That's copy protection for people who don't know that typically makes the games run worse. Though it's not clear if that was the case here or if the stuttering is caused by other problems. There is some stuttering on PC. So I still might buy it. Double aces. Just checked and my ADC filter was on. Well, that's no good. If you don't know, you should check your radio and make sure your ADC filter in your radio settings is off. Because you don't need it. We blazed past halfway to void. I was not even paying attention. I need 400 points. We're at 220. We get 5 per game. So we are blasting right on through. I still got to do my diaries for my elite void, but at least we're knocking out the points. I've been going for almost 2 hours, hour 45. I'm actually pretty surprised. Donka says, make an account for each game would allow you to sell games. Power of the people. Yeah, I think you should be able to sell games. I really do. It's kind of BS you can't, but also Valve makes games and they really like catering to devs as much as they can, so I don't know that we'll see that. But that would be really cool. I wish you could just fucking sell a game you have. There's no reason you shouldn't be able to. Muska says he saw that JB vid and turned it off also. Yeah, we talked about it on the news a while back, but I know a lot of people do not watch the news that watch his videos, so. If you don't watch the news, you should, because most things I'm saying here, we've talked about on some episode of the news. And most fixes or leaks or issues we try to get within a week of them happening. And some of them I post on the news first, so. Like that new issue with the ExpressLRS EP receivers. If you've got an EP receiver, you're getting a dim light or solid light error, where your EP receiver is heating up a lot, or did heat up too much and exploded. Not exploded, but like doesn't work anymore. You might have a bad one. There's a pull request we reviewed on the latest episode of the news, where we go over that. You're looking on that thing for a label SDG. It's like Sam, Dog, Greg, on a little BEC in the corner. If you have that, that means it's bad. There's a new patch to fix that you can install, or if yours is already broken, you can try to request a refund. Yeah, somebody else just told me in the Bardwell Discord that they requested a refund and got a refund for four receivers. So looks like Happy Model is happy to honor that. Compost Pile says, I should have sent this to the news, but I didn't research it enough. FBI and Secret Service brought some DJI drones, even though Department of Commerce said no DJI for government use. There are actually a few that are approved. They're just not very many, so I would assume they're on the approved list. Nub Square says, I just bought the new Happy Model ES24TX Slim Pro with telemetry defect. Yeah, I don't know anything about that. Pyro won't accept returns. Options are to ship Happy Model or get a fixed kit, which requires some tiny soldering. Shipping the Happy Model is 30% of the cost of the module. Yeah, I don't know anything about that defect, so. Nobody has emailed that to me or shared that to the news or anything. Yeah, so this article says, as the June 1st revision, DJI is still on the entity list, which prevents U.S. companies from selling any of their tech for DJI to use. And the Pentagon's report comes as Congress is considering a law that would ban the government from buying Chinese drones for 5 whole years. There were 2 models that were inspected and are approved by the Pentagon. So I would assume it's one of those 2 models that the Pentagon is like, hey, this code's fine. And I think the only ban is like, hey, we can't work with other companies, but you can still buy DJI drones as a government entity. You must get asked about the Terraplane. I have no idea. Is my answer there? Andy Shen doesn't make, trash, but also like, how much better is it than other Cinewhoops? I have no idea. Hey, Blythen, how's it going? Runescape indeed. Just grinding some pest control currently for Elite Void, if you know what that is. I already have my regular Void. Just getting to the point. Like I'm to the point in Dragon Slayer 2 where I've got to go do the Dragonkin Fortress. That means I've got to go kill Vorkath for the first time. So I am trying to get my Void together for that. I'm doing good, man. You're going to Wooptopia. That's cool. Likely won't end up going to that just because of distance and stuff, but sure it'll be a great time. Yeah, those tickets sold out pretty quick for Rootopia. But typically there's like 5 or 10 that end up like being resold because people can't end up going or change of plans. So hopefully if you didn't get one, you can find one. If you didn't, I imagine the person to ask is AK to get on the list. Everybody confused about Runescape. Yes, all those people are real people. Leo DeGallon. It's a real person. This is a mini game called Pest Control. And by completing Pest Control, I'm getting Pest Control reward points. So there's an upgrade for my Pest Control gear that I already have from here that I can upgrade with points to make my damage better at other activities. So that's what I'm working on. And it is so valuable, it is worth the time spent here. And we're just chatting anyway, so. Typically, I'm watching YouTube or something while doing an activity like this, but chatting with you folks works as well. I'm playing an Iron Man, so normally in this game you can trade with other people like many MMOs, and buy things from other people and such, so you can skip content because you don't have to find out where it is. However, I am playing an Iron Man, so I have to do everything on my own. Everything you see on me was purchased at a shop in the game or dropped from something. It's a pretty chill game. Mo says nice to have something to listen to while scrubbing through Excel sheets. Yeah, fair enough. Lucas says, let's play some Warzone. I think it's like cheater heaven in Warzone, right? Every first-person shooter now is garbage because it's all cheaters. Sucks, man. I used to play so much Escape from Tarkov, and it has really gotten bad. Like, I tried to deny it at the beginning of this patch, but it started getting really bad. Tarkov is hard because I don't know if anybody's played Tarkov, but Tarkov is very much like people will just hide in a corner to kill you because your gear is worth stuff, and you have to go certain areas to extract. But unfortunately, it's become more than just dying from nowhere for no reason. Now it's kind of dying from nowhere immediately when you spawn, or like getting teleported, or there's a lot of bad stuff that happens. So. Dub Squared tagged me in the post. Interesting. All right. Well, if you guys see any issues like this telemetry issue, please let me know so I can put them on the news. I did not hear about that one. No, I don't. I don't think they are pumpkins. But as to what they are, no idea. Kind of gelatinous thing, maybe. You decide. It's like a single eye in the front. Yeah, I want you to update. Sonic Tonic just sent me a message. It wants you to update your Betaflight. That's what it's telling you. Basically telling you your Betaflight is too old and the pass-through is messed up. So either your Betaflight config is messed up and you probably need to reflash that, or you need to update it to a more modern Betaflight. But it's possible the config is just messed up and it needs to be reflashed. That's typically what that means anyway. That it's getting like an outdated signal from the flight controller. Muska asked about JB's live stream. That is tomorrow. We talked about it on the news. Brian says, oh, probably a slime that ate a pumpkin. That's a good idea. That's probably what it is. Also, these spinners. I don't know what the fuck a spinner is. Or this, to be honest, but this looks a little more like a thing. I don't know what any of these are, to be honest. Sonic Tonic, you also might make sure, like, I don't know, maybe you can try turning off bidirectional D-shot and seeing if it'll let you connect, stuff like that. Lowering your D-shot in the config tab of the motors. Like, you don't have to leave it like that, but anytime you have problems connecting, I always try random stuff like that. Just in case it's something weird going on. Loco says, how you like the new sim Uncrashed? I do not. I don't sim for freestyle, I sim for racing. And that sim feels like it has terrible physics, so not for me. Maybe they'll fix it. Muska, I can definitely tell you, it is. They just posted on their Facebook that it will be coming up. So they probably just had the wrong date on the email. Hey, Bill Clark's here. How's it going, Bill? Good to see you. We're having a chill day, just playing some video games, talking about FPV and whatever else comes up. Yeah, Sonic, there's been a unreasonable amount of times helping people troubleshoot things where just reflashing Betaflight will fix it, but there's nothing obviously wrong with the config. It's like somehow something has gotten corrupted and like some flags are flipped or bits are changed or something got saved incorrectly and it's being recalled. It's very hard to diagnose, but I just don't know why. It's sort of like turning it off and on again, but like reflashing because it's so easy on an FC. but for some reason, sometimes stuff gets toggled and it just doesn't work right. I know some boards can do that with low power, like the Mob 6s and a couple other boards. If you get them under 3 volts, they'll actually just lose the configuration. I suspect it's something like that with memory corruption, but I don't actually know enough to tell you why. But when in doubt, always at the end of the day, just reflash. And make sure you're on something modern. So I wish I knew. So a lot of this electronic stuff is so annoying because you don't actually get an answer. Same thing with like PC troubleshooting or anything. You just like end up fixing it and you don't really know why. You're just happy it's fixed, but you're like, well, I hope this doesn't happen again. Oh, I have one other suggestion for you, Sonic. If that does not work, I'm going to send you a set of commands, and you basically will try all 4 versions of them. So basically, if reflashing and everything else doesn't make any difference, then you'll try these commands, and basically it'll toggle bit bang. I've got to find them. That's the problem. I'm not sure exactly which. I'm trying to remember what they were. But here we go. So they both come auto, and it's set dshot underscore bitbang and set dshot underscore bitbang underscore timer. I have seen those affect that interface connection that you're looking at there. So what you would do with those is just toggle them. So you do like, you would try like set dshot bitbang on, and then save, and then does it work? Set dshot bitbang off, and then does it work? Set dshot bitbang timer on, and then turn the other one on. You know, just try all the combos. Fixed a beta FPV board like that, I think. Did you tell me it was a beta FPV AIO and I just ignored you? Or no? Or am I imagining that? But the one I fixed was a beta FPV AIO like that. But I might be making up that you said that somewhere. Should probably play the game. Ram Donko. If it's over 1 to 2 minutes, then likely no. There's not much you can do about fixing that accelerometer. That just sounds like accelerometer drift. If you are getting a tiny amount of drift or rotation, without that, like if you're just seeing it a little bit when you take off and hover, if you're like having to work to keep it steady, like more than a little bit, then maybe you would check the calibration, like the trim. You can trim through the radio. Like you wouldn't trim the radio, you trim through the OSD to trim the actual quad accelerometer. You might try that, but I'm going to guess if it's drifting, that's just a problem with the Excel. And that's probably like filtering on the board, or it could be like a bad Excel, but Excel and gyro are tied together. So if it works well in Acro, it's probably just a bad board or a bad Excel. Onyx says Mamba F7. Yeah, I'm not aware of having that issue, but if you try everything else, might as well try the D-Shot bit bang stuff. Just so you know, you can definitely, anytime you have the accelerometer that's going off, like in angle mode, you can always disarm and then rearm, and that will recalibrate your accelerometer. Something we do a lot in whoop racing because you're crashing and you're fucking up the accelerometer, so you end up like flying off to the side like you're describing. But unfortunately, in our case, that's because of crashing. So sounds like that's not your issue. If it's happening after crashing, then that's kind of normal. But if it's not happening after crashing, then if it's just flight, that sounds like Excel drift or something from electrical noise. Yeah, I don't. As far as I know, there's no filters that only affect like angle mode versus angle and gyro. So like your filters are going to clean your gyro signal up, but I don't think they clean your accelerometer signal up at all. Could be wrong on that, but I don't believe they do. I think we're gonna do one more game here and call it. It's been 2 hours and 10 minutes. It was longer than I expected to stream. Maybe we'll do that more often. I haven't really done this too much lately, but this wasn't bad. So definitely helps to have something to do. At least I can click around on the game. Any more last minute questions, concerns, thoughts, news, etc.? I'd love to hear it. Also, as somebody mentioned earlier, do not forget to watch DRL tonight. That's going to be exciting. On NBC Sports Network and Twitter, it looks like. 8 p.m. EST. Doc asks about the Weebly pop-up Velociter races. Probably not. Maybe, but I don't know. We'll see. I haven't flown a sim too much. Local asks what's the favorite 5-inch quad at the moment. Probably just my FetTech build. I don't fly too much, but when I do, it's typically that FetTech build because it's just easy and it's there. So the other one I fly a decent amount is JBF4 I have. With a Vista or with the air unit still in it. So it's a little heavy. It's a Skyliner build, but they both fly well. Skyliner's got actual 4S motors on it, but FedTech I fly 6S motors with 4S batteries. So, all right. Well, I appreciate everybody being here. I think I'm gonna call it. That was fun. So we'll see what happens. I don't know if it'll be RuneScape next time, but I will try to stream something else and see who wants to hang out again. Later, guys. I do appreciate you being here.